Very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's uLaw webinar. The topic for today's webinar is how do you ensure a high BX, CX, UX, and PX quotient, for your law office, but the exact title for you to be able to enter into your Law Society portals would be what you see on the screen right now. How do you ensure BX, CX, UX, and PX is high for your law office? That's the exact quote-unquote title of today's webinar. It has been accredited for 1 hour of professionalism CPD credits in the provinces of Ontario, British Columbia, and New Brunswick. Once again, I repeat, today's webinar is accredited for 1 hour of professionalism credits in the provinces of Ontario, British Columbia, and New Brunswick, and the title for you to use is how do you ensure BX, CX, UX, and PX is high for your law office. Like every other uLaw webinar, today's webinar has this very clear-cut agenda. We're certainly going to talk about and define what these different nomenclatures are, or what are these different verbiages that we have, the BX, UX, CX, and PX. We'll define them, we'll describe them, and we want to talk about the business of branding, how best you can utilize these 4 important components for any business, and we're trying to relate it to the legal side of your business, and how best you could use these 4 different aspects or components of your business cohesively to improve your overall branding, user, customer, product experience. Touch upon the different tools that you have today that you could utilize to improve the quotients of these experiences, how best you can orchestrate how these experiences work together so that it's a very seamless experience for you, your staff, to deliver it, and for your consumers or customers to experience it. And of course, last but not the least, we'll talk about practice management and legal accounting, 2 important tools in your toolkit. Of course, for some of the many different components, you do have other tools that you do need, marketing tools, sales tools, digital experience tools, if you were to call them in today's day and age, the various different channels and partnerships that you can explore to improve these components. Okay, so let's start with this whole definition of BX. And of course, the X is really for the experience. So that's really what the X alphabet stands for across these 4, B, C, U, and P. And we'll start off with the BX, which is really the fundamental experience that any business is looking to provide to its end customer, which is that of the brand. So the BX stands for the brand experience. And from a legal standpoint, it's certainly, like any other business, one of the first best steps forward, if you will, a representation of your firm, and a representation in terms of clearly articulating the services that you offer as a legal firm, the values that you stand for as a legal firm, and what can a consumer or a customer expect out of working with a firm such as yours. These are some of the important components that a brand can easily, along with the tagline or other aspects of that brand, can easily communicate or should easily communicate to the end audience. So going back to that question, does your brand today adequately reflect who you are as an individual? If it's a sole practitioner firm, sometimes that's very helpful too, to talk a little bit about yourself, the individual, talk about your experiences, what led you to be the daredevil that you are as a legal representative, your passion, so on and so forth. You would typically see that across websites where there's certainly a little bio about the individual who's running the show, who's going to be dealing with your problem, your legal problem as a customer, right? So, does your brand today adequately reflect who you are as an individual? Or if this is a team of growing professionals within a legal firm, then of course there would be the different individuals and the various different expertise that they bring and their own story. Your values. Depending on the silo of practice that you focus on, there's a backstory to why you began this firm to begin with, the values that you carry into that business, the type of work that you plan to take on based on the values that you carry into that business. And this is one way where you can get personal and really have them go beyond a bio to understand the core values of the firm. Like every business certainly has a mission, a goal, and a value statement. We believe from a legal firm standpoint, it's like any other business, great opportunity as part of that brand exposure to talk about the values that you bring in. Makes this whole disconnect and this so-called fear factor of having to deal with the legal issue ease a little bit as you make yourself more approachable, talk about your backstory, your values, making it more personable and lesser of a heartache for those who have to deal with those legal issues. Competencies, that pretty much comes down to either yourself as the individual or the team that you're gathered and the collective competency that you bring as a firm, of course, with regards to various silos of practice or areas of practice, if you will. So this is where you have the opportunity through that brand. Now you have certain legal firms, for example, that only focus on, let's say, traffic tickets, right? So right from the name to the value to the overall competency, they pretty much live, breathe that one specific area of practice. It could be in your name, brand, your overall logo. It could be the team of professionals and their experience exclusively in that area of practice. So that's one approach. And you can now take away that provincial offenses or HDA or any of those different areas of practice and replace it with the one that's what your education has given you, the experiences that has given you, and what you serve as an area of practice. So this could be family law, this could be criminal. So it could start off with being one very specific focused area, or depending on your situation, it could be areas of practices, it could be multiple areas of practices. It could be small claims and POA, it could be family law and real estate, whatever combination you and your set of colleagues can represent and provide to the public or to your client base. Okay, so you often see when brands are exposed with regards to your website, could be your visiting card, could be any digital touch point that you expose your brand to, starting with the website, you would certainly notice a section right at the top that talks about areas of practice served or services offered, making it a little more easier for the end customer to understand your focus, along with the competencies as part of that brand exposure. Another value-added component that we've not really written down in these slides, but has become a thing that a lot of legal firms are starting to do, is also add the references, the client talk, whether that's third-party automation tools that you may use like Google Review, or it could be a single or a very simple snippet within your website. So if you're using tools such as WordPress or Wix or any content management system that you or your web provider provides you, this is a new aspect that helps improve that brand quotient. It most certainly is something that you have to work towards to get those kinds of feedback, client referrals, the 5 stars, if you will, so that it is easier on the consumer to understand not only your areas of practice that you focus on, who you are as an individual, but to a certain extent understand the reputation that you have as a business in this legal business. Right? So the fourth important aspect of a brand exposure is most definitely the reputation component of your business. Now, of course, if you're just getting started and you don't have clients yet, that's going to come with time. And the remaining components that we're going to talk about, the customer experience, the user experience, and the overall product experience, over time would certainly gather and enable you to gather those references that help slowly but most surely improve and increase the reputation component of that brand. Okay? So the first three things are things that you can clearly articulate. The fourth thing is the outcome of the work put in, articulated in the words of your client. And a combination of these four aspects of that brand exposure, we believe, gives that confidence and the comfort that your end clients would certainly look for when they either search for service providers across Google or other search engines, or reach out to a friend, colleague, or reach out to the Law Society. And if you've provided them with your card, with a website, or some digital presence, this is some of the things that they're going to do their own little research before they pick up that phone number and give you a call. Okay? We talk about how a brand should, and most certainly is a great opportunity for you to imprint confidence and service excellence. So confidence comes from the first three components. Service excellence and a bit of confidence comes from the fourth reputation aspect over time. Then we talk about customer experience. So it's great. Someone understands your brand. And a big part of the brand, of course, we're going to talk a little bit further in today's presentation, some of the little details. The devil is in the detail. So the brand, as a very visually appealing component of your business, should enable to clearly articulate that message in a simple visual representation, whether that's a logo, whether that's a little, even your letterhead with your name on it, something to differentiate and increase the stickiness factor of brand recognition. So if you're using that across digital experiences, or if you're using that brand as a way for printing marketing materials, for someone to be able to clearly read that brand, whether it's a combination of a visual logo with maybe a tagline, whatever it may be, that's really coming down to your personal experiences and what you as a business want to provide. But it's very critical that you choose right from the colors to the initials. Of course, you see in the legal business a lot of, the A and Bs and the B and Gs, and those pretty much talk about the individuals who are partners or co-owners of the firm. That's definitely one particular style of branding that we've quite often seen in the legal business. We're starting to see a trend around individuals adding sharp, crisp taglines along with a logo, and whatever that logo can be is something that you design with your designer. Bottom line, making sure that you take this opportunity, whether it's a brand new business or a business that's looking to reinvent itself, look at your brand, look at how that brand is being easily exposed for people to get back to you, what it resonates, and work towards improving that brand. From a customer standpoint, let's say someone has acknowledged that brand, then the next step, as I mentioned, is with that leap of faith, are going to now reach out to your brand with the hope that you as a firm have the competence, have the values, and the reputation to help them with their current problem, hoping that you've seen similar problems, if not the exact problem, and have the expertise, experience, and expertise to solve that problem for them. Right? That's where your customer experience component of your business begins. So that first initial touch point, whether that's an email, maybe a simple WhatsApp message, because we're starting to see how legal businesses today, like other businesses, have started to use WhatsApp as a means of correspondence. You create a WhatsApp number. You can have your own separate WhatsApp number just for business that's just meant for correspondences. You can use that WhatsApp number across marketing materials. You could use it across websites where you could say, schedule a 15-minute call by just texting to this WhatsApp business number. So yet another tool for you to start thinking about if you haven't already done it is WhatsApp. Of course, there are certain rules of the game. You definitely need to read the fine print. WhatsApp and Facebook have certainly been in the news in the recent times for the fine print. But it's certainly yet another digital tool that is now being used by legal firms and businesses to help market and also be that first touch point for that customer experience, right? Because your end consumers are used to the WhatsApp experience. So you're just taking advantage of the situational fluence that your consumers have with that ecosystem and entering your firm into that ecosystem. So website, moving along to WhatsApp. And this is a trend. I'm sure you can appreciate this, and I'm sure you're already following this, but this is a trend of how consumers are now trying to connect with all businesses that they deal with using their mobile phone. So gone are the days where internet was a big thing. Gone are the days where you had laptops and digital devices being a big thing. It's pretty much coming down to the mobile phones, and it's also going to come down to no more typing, and a lot of the work that people are going to do are going to be through voice search, right? So that's really the curve. But coming back to that customer experience, so let's say you have, first thing you talk about within your business is how do you want that first touch point to be from your customer to your brand? Do you want them to call you because you have a phone number and readily available? If you do have a phone number, and if you're busy, of course you have voice message. If, those little things. We have heard of stories where some legal firms, could have a voice message but haven't deleted their voicemails. You don't want the situation where it says, this voicemail is full, and that's a missed opportunity. So the customer experience, after that initial confidence factor of the brand, is really your sales tool that's going to enable you to have a confident conversation and close that business with that prospective customer who's looking for legal help. This is a very critical experience factor that a lot of input needs to be put into to have a very modern interface of how that first touch point should be. Or if you feel, all this is fine and dandy, but I just have a website, I have a contact us page there, and if my customer, having gone through my website, understands my competence and wants to utilize my service, they're going to fill out that contact us form. And if that is the case, then a simple checkpoint for you as a modern legal practitioner, business owner in today's day and age is to ensure that your website is web responsive. So even when someone went on your website through your mobile phone, through their mobile experiences, making sure that it's a very nice, intuitive website, making it easy, click of a button, reduce the amount of technical glitch and friction for someone to reach out to you. Because the last thing you want is the mobile phone not rendering that contact us page and they have to click 10 different times to submit. That leaves a bad brand/customer experience. Okay? So now we talk about the customer experience. Now the customer experience starts with that initial touch point, but also travels through that journey of that prospective client becoming a customer and then moving along the different experiences that they have of working with your business. Right? So the first call, great, very professional. They love it. You're scheduled to be there at 9:15. You were there at 9:15. It starts there. You as a legal professional boost the confidence that's needed. Talk about your experiences, very articulate. Talk about different clientele that you've dealt with similar situations. Gives them confidence. Then you talk about, here is a very clear retainer engagement letter that talks about the rules that govern this engagement. Okay? Making it very simple and easy for the customer to understand. So we're going to get into the CX component. I just want you to know that the customer experience is that journey from that initial phone call to you closing the file. And then consider a user experience. Some of the little things that I mentioned, right from WhatsApp to website. In today's context, and I continue to emphasize on today's context because it's always changing, and it's changing in a very rapid manner, and legal profession is no more an exception to this digital era or trend that have across businesses. Every business is going through this same wave of digital transformation of how consumers and customers relate and work with your businesses. So from a user experience standpoint, especially if you have not thought about digital transformation and not thought about the different digital experiences that you can provide, or even experiences for that matter. Not always does it have to be digital, but even if it's that phone call, ensuring that it's easy for your customers to utilize. So pick and choose your user experiences. We're just talking about digital because that's where the next set of customer base, based on demographics, based on age, based on different factors, are moving towards. And the ecosystem around us is enabling a fast, convenient way of doing business. So if you are able to, might as well ride that wave and take the opportunity to get more clients and leads by being digitally aligned and, not missing out on the opportunity, let's say that. Okay? So from a multi-touch point experience, we spoke about initial sales marketing touch points, which is great. The WhatsApp, the website, the phone number, QR codes. There are many different things people do today. Fast and easy way to reach your business. And then comes the experience of having to work with your business. So if you have a retainer letter or an engagement letter, what is the user experience of receiving that correspondence? Do you have to mail it, or do you send it to via email, or do you send them to a link, or do you send them a PDF document which allows them to digitally sign it? What level of sophistication would you like to provide your customer so that it's easier on them to make decisions fast, but also interact and do business with your firm? Given that the same consumer is used to certain privileges and used to certain fancy components of doing business in other realms of their life. So if they go to Amazon, or if they go to any other prominent websites and other businesses that you as a consumer deal with, and you being a legal professional, beyond what you do for your business, you are a consumer as well. How do you expect that experience to be? Do you mail Amazon, or do you call Amazon to purchase a laptop? Hopefully not, because you're getting on your phone, or on your mobile phone rather, picking up a laptop, using a credit card, and then moving forward. right? You look at the different reviews of a particular brand. You understand certain brands based on how long they've existed. If this is a new brand, then of course you do further research. But then the experience of doing business with that brand is so digitally inclined. That's the same level of expectations that we would like for you to keep in mind that your customer will have when they do business with you. Phew, that was a pretty long English sentence with no commas and full stops. Sorry about that. All right. Another aspect of the experience, of course, is ensuring that your customer has this feeling that you and your firm are really on top of your game and you're helping them deal with this problem and you're taking it personally on yourself to ensure that you're doing everything possible in the right time, keeping their success in mind. Simple things that go a long way, and again, I'm sure in many ways I'm preaching to the choir here. Many experienced legal professionals that are in the call today probably do this as a second habit, but just re-emphasizing the need to continue to have that as part of your business is ensuring the little things such as being on time, delivering correspondences on time, sticking to schedules, whether that's your disbursement schedule, whether that's your invoice schedule, whatever the business may be, right? Whatever the business aspect may be. Ensuring that there's a certain consistency in the different documents that you provide them. So maybe if you have a retainer letter that has an old address with an old logo, and then you have a receipt with a different address with a different logo, then of course the customer is not going to appreciate the disconnect, if you will. It starts to question the professionalism of the overall firm, looking at some of the minor details. And then when it comes to the actual crux of the content itself, so the content of your engagement retainer letter, how simple, effective, and clear is your engagement letter? Ensuring that they don't have to come back every time to ask you questions, ensuring that you have control too by telling your customer their expectations and your expectations of them. So if you expect them to pay you within 30 days of an invoice being sent, then that needs to be clearly articulated in that engagement letter. And if they haven't paid, then the professionalism that's expected of you to send a reminder or maybe an invoice letter with that, interest added on, whatever that may be, all part of that experience. A closing letter, a final document that pretty much summarizes the overall work accomplished. Of course, the overall personal characteristics that you bring to the table, the ease with which they're able to approach you, the ease with which you're able to call them back, all of that comes under user experience. And last but not the least, as I mentioned, the whole Amazon effect of how easy is it to do business using the digital tools that people have. So a great example that we often talk about is, have you made payment self-serve? Or have you come to that level of delivering services where payments can be conveniently self-serve? Because it's going to be convenient to you as a business too. Don't have to run around with checks for payments. If you have found a comfortable, cozy, safe, and secure way of collecting payments digitally, automatically, then that's one way of improving the efficiencies of your own businesses too. Right? So that's with user experience. I'm already half hour in, so hopefully I haven't put you to sleep already. I know it's the afternoon, post-lunch, and my voice is a bit too husky for my own comfort. Now comes the product experience. And I've delivered this webinar in many different ways at many different times. I'm doing my best to always come up with something newer as an example to provide. But the product experience pretty much comes down to the overall effect, the combined effect of the first three experiences, leaving them with the taste of satisfaction and the confidence, converting that customer into an ambassador, right? Converting that customer, the prospective customer who had no clue about your business, learning about your business through that brand exposure, having this wonderful customer experience of being able to easily communicate and enter that ecosystem of experiences that you're waiting to provide your customer, taking through that journey of a customer experience or user experience, which is very digitally forward-thinking. And last but not the least, of course, a combination of the success ratio to the overall experience leaves that customer having him or her a true believer in your firm and the capabilities of your firm. And the outcome of a phenomenal series of brand, customer, user experience leaves with a product experience that is easily repeatable. And what I mean by that is they're confident enough to come back to that same legal firm because of that final product experience quotient, where if they have the next legal problem, they most certainly, if not for any other reason, they most certainly should not think about any other firm, but at the least they should come back to you for an opinion. And this is something we often see within legal firms, right? If you have had a very good experience with one legal problem with the legal firm, and God willing, and thanks to your expertise, it's been successfully resolved and everyone's happy, then that same customer is going to come back to you when they have another need for legal representation. Small claims leading to real estate purchase, first real estate purchase leading to the second real estate purchase. So it's a funny term, but often in the digital marketing terms today, we're starting to talk about family doctors and family lawyers and family this and family that. So really, businesses are trying to capture the attention and the audience within families today, right? Within that one family, you probably have the opportunity to serve multiple needs. Because if I've been served well, and if you've done a good job of these experiences, then if my cousin or some other relative has a legal need, and if they ask me, or if I'm going to go out of my way to suggest, because there are platforms for that too, then the product experience is finally the summation of the outcome of those three experiences, leaving with a very satisfied repeat customer. And what's important from a legal firm standpoint is when that does happen, what do you have to offer to capitalize on that emotion of that repeat customer? For example, if small claims is all you do, then it is what it is. Then that customer, unless they have another small claims matter, or if another friend, relative, neighbor has an issue and they're going to relay your name, and then that individual goes through the brand, customer, and the user experience. But if you are a firm that offers multiple areas of practices, right? Because then that's a double whammy. That same individual can come back to you for multiple areas of practices. Of course, you do your conflict checks and ensure there are no conflicts in any of those representations, right? But imagine that these are areas of practice that really don't correlate as much, do not lead to conflicts really. Then the PX component of your firm, the product experience component of your firm, whether that's relayed on your website, whether that's relayed on your business card, really talks about what other areas of practice do you enable and help customers with. You want this first customer to understand that. If you fail to expose that very good customer with other areas of practice that either you're building expertise on, because we're seeing a lot of legal firms saying at the end of a very successful transaction, you may be able to send an email that says, thank you so much. And by the way, in the last 2 weeks, we've got this new fantastic legal representative, paralegal lawyer who's joined our team, and they bring this wonderful new aspect of the legal business around family. So the next time you have that, if you need that representation, just sharing with you that this is another area that we as a legal firm now represent. Or if you have graduated and enhanced your educational experience to now do another areas of practice, then of course you most certainly want to utilize the product experience aspect of it, where you communicate what else you offer, the choices the customers have. Okay? Because when you look at the BX, CX, and UX, let's be honest, there's a point solution, especially in the legal business. Well, if you're looking for a laptop within Amazon, that's a different type of an experience. But when someone is searching up help and legal representation, most often than not, they have a point problem, a single problem to deal with. Most often, they may have multiple problems, but most often they have the single issue at that particular time that needs resolution. I have a traffic ticket and whatever associated components that come with it, lack of, outdated sticker, no driver's license. There could be many aspects of it, right? Very rare that you have that combined with a family issue, combined with a criminal. So when they come into that business customer and user, they have a point solution to think about, and they want someone with that experience to help them with that particular pain problem. Once that pain point has been resolved and that heaviness is taken out of their head, of course, they're not going after the next problem, but they keep you in their mind so that if and when another problem does arise, it's almost like inception, whether for themselves or for their friends, families, and relatives, they know who to either transfer the call to or call back. Okay, I know I'm going back in a circle here, but long story short, these 4 experiences, when combined, we personally believe at uLaw, having served thousands of customers now, is a great combination to continue to improve, improvise, and sophisticate, and be in time, in today's trend and time, to enable yourself to be positioned for success. Nothing is a guarantee, like anything in life, but you certainly can't say, I haven't tried that, I haven't tried this. If you are doing everything to ensure that these 4 pillars are taken care of, then you can be confident that you've taken the right steps for success. There's another 20 minutes left in the webinar, and I'll take maybe a quick minute break if you think it's prudent to ask any questions that you may have with regards to these 4 experiences that we've just covered before I go a little bit more deeper into those individual experiences, the different legal touch points or documents that you need to keep in mind, and so on and so forth. So I'm happy to pause and just take a quick break to answer any questions that you may have. And please do use the chat window. I hope the screen is moving. I did stay on that one slide for a pretty long time. I do have my own mobile phone connected to join me, and I can see my slides move, so hopefully that problem is resolved. Okay. If there are any questions, please feel free, as I said, even after the webinar. You can email us at support@uLawPractice.com. if you have any specific questions with regards to this webinar. Alrighty, so from a brand experience, I know I've spoken enough. Just to leave you with a few things to consider. The game of social and the game of digital is ever evolving, as I mentioned. I know those are cliche statements, but unfortunately, it's evolving, and that statement stands good for many years to come going forward. Brand experience from a legal business standpoint, I think now is the time for you to reinvent. Especially post-COVID, everyone's now happy to be marketed digitally, right? Because not many of them are stepping out. There's a lot of restrictions in many cities. So once we do get back to new normal, you're going to start seeing that. But even still, we've started to see how digital and social branding and marketing is a very cost-effective tool as well. If you wanted to put your banner on a bus or a banner on a bus stand or TV or radio, of course, these are all great options, and the brand is still very important. If you're talking about a radio advertisement, I'm sure you can appreciate how important the brand experience is, right? You've seen the pizza advertisements. There's always this stickiness component of it. They even make a great lyrical tune to the phone numbers, right? So keep that in mind when you're building your brand experience so that it resonates the right message, the values, the competencies, but it's a gimmick where you're making sure that there's a stickiness factor in your consumer's mind when they see this logo, this combination of colors, the fanciness in your logo, whatever it may be. That combined with the different digital channels that are available for you as a legal business to market. 10 years back, you did not have these many channels. Today, you pretty much have over 120 plus different digital channels that you can reach out to consumers talking about your brand. The next trend that we would like for you to be aware is gone are the days where you can write a lot of text on your website. We're starting to see consumers now happy to view a quick 20 to 30 second video where you can take this brand experience and talk about that in a quick video that you can then upload on YouTube or Vimeo or any of those different video channels and then use them as a way of passing the message along. Okay, so it starts with that whole digital marketing aspect of it, utilizing brand as that first step into the door. But then comes other aspects that are more old school. It's all digital and fancy and great, but a retainer letter is a retainer letter is a retainer letter. So ensuring that there's brand consistency now across all the different channels that you choose to correspond with customers and prospective customers. So ensuring that there's a brand consistency, right from the logo to the tagline, and it's okay to change them. You just have to be aware to ensure that there's a consistent way of delivering them to ensure professionalism. Okay, so documents such as your retainer letters, we've spoken about that, your engagement letters, could be your receipts, your retainer receipt. It could even be the email that you send. You can have them branded. You can have email addresses, very important. In fact, that's one of the things we wanted to highlight as part of that branding experience. If you're someone who's just getting started with your legal business, for a very small cost, you are able to get an email address with your business's brand on it. So if you are ABC Legal Firm or ABC Law Firm, not only do you get yourself a wonderful website, abclawfirm.com, but please do explore the use of info@abclawfirm.com or services or help at infoabc.com. So don't make it as infoabc@gmail.com. It's great. It's okay to do that, but it just adds to the pizzazz and the professionalism if you have your own branded email. Okay? So your documents, the channels, and the brand experience. And we believe a good business experience most definitely translates to great referrals, both from existing customers and from those who know and are reviewing it often. So again, as part of this presentation, we started off by utilizing this as an example, and because this is now approved for CPD credits, we most definitely have to only stick to this series of slides because the law societies have approved it, so we're not able to change it. Just thought I should share that because I don't want you to think we have a bias towards a certain brand. We just chose a global brand to resonate the same message. So if you look at the coffee company, Starbucks, there's a logo, has a certain set of colors that we know today, and this brand and the set of colors have evolved, and they continue to evolve, and they've evolved with time, right? The mermaid, I think, remains to be the same. There's a story behind it. It's nice to talk about. The value statement of Starbucks is very critical. That's available on their website. It used to be on their brand as a logo or as a tagline earlier on, much earlier on, like how you have Nike and Just Do It. But you could see how Nike has sometimes taken away the Just Do It tagline, and it's just the shoes or the tick symbol that pretty much now everyone knows about, right? But before, you used to have the actual logo with the tagline on it. So translate that into legal business. You can come up with your own series of logos, colors, taglines. Tickets is all we deal with. Working for tenants is our business. I've seen many taglines like that. It's the law firms that deal with corporate businesses, so there could be taglines that are more tuned to the needs of the corporate business. So, for example, intellectual property is a big thing today in Canada as we start to see the rise of startups. So if you're an up-and-coming lawyer, if you think that this is one area that you want to build your business in, IP, it surely is a booming business. So if you are doing or leading with intellectual property, you could have a tagline that pretty much talks about that line of business, right? Protecting your business is what we do. You have patent law firms. There's many different aspects of it, but keep in mind that there's a brand and an opportunity to have a tagline that goes along with it. So when someone sees it, hopefully with time, they know exactly who they're dealing with. We spoke about customer experience. That's that first touch point through WhatsApp or a phone call or maybe in-person meeting when they show up at your office. And ensuring that, once again, a very professional, consistent experience, talking about your values, ensuring that every colleague in your firm firmly believes in those values and are able to serve your customers' needs with the same empathy, professionalism, timeliness, etc. Right? Because yes, you could have a fantastic persona as an individual and as a sole practitioner, but now the minute you've outsourced or have other individuals participating in your firm's success, a combination of communication and training becomes very critical so that everyone in the firm speaks the same language. Okay? So let's say you've got this new legal representative joining the firm who now brings in this IP management or intellectual property component of your business, and let's say your front-end staff don't know about it, then the next time there's an inquiry, you don't want them to be providing an inconsistent message. Post that initial touch point, of course, you have documents, legal documents, the fun side of what you do, with pun intended. Documents such as your letters, right, from retainer, engagement, and different types of businesses have different types of needs. Certain types of businesses may need you to send them a bill of cost, statement of activities, right? Certain businesses or areas of practice may not need that. No matter what silo you're dealing with, ensuring that the customer experience of working with your business is consistent and professional is what you always have to keep in mind. So take a look at all your documents that are customer facing, that warrant a consistent brand exposure and brand communication. So we're not talking about law society documents. We're not talking about your reconciliation statements. We're not talking about your ledgers and journals. We're pretty much talking about customer-facing documents here, because law society mandates what that document should look like. With these documents, you are in control of what they should look like. But just make sure they're consistent with the brand, the values, the message across the firm. Okay? And of course, certain tools, like how you have tools for marketing, for sales, for brand awareness. One of the most important tools that a legal firm most certainly has, in some shape or form, is a practice management system that can help automate some of these. You don't have to do this manually. For, once again, a low cost these days in the cloud-enabled world, you as legal practitioners have the advantage of exploring many different tools. You don't have limited options today. You have various different options. You pick and choose what's best for you by doing enough research, the different trials. You do, of course, have to, unfortunately or fortunately, invest the time that's needed to choose the right tool for you, because at the end of the day, it's going to give you these wonderful advantages and time efficiencies, right? So once you have a letterhead pretty much set up in a overall practice management tool, you know the software will pretty much automate, consistently deliver that letterhead looking the same across all documents. And if your letterhead does change, you know you just have to change it in one place, confidently leaving that it reflects across all documents. So even if the personnel within your business changes, the software continues to deliver consistent experiences. So going back to that example of Starbucks, it's a coffee, you know the brand, but now it's personalized and it's consistent. Okay? And why do I bring personalization? Let's say you do family law and you do real estate. Maybe the templates for family law as a retainer letter are same, whether you do it for Tom, Dick, or Harry. What changes, of course, is the personal information and certain nitty-gritties of the situation that they're in. Maybe you're giving one particular customer a little bit of a discount, but the overall information about your firm, what you offer, the expectations. So if you have a net 30, the hope is that it's consistent across all your clients, and you don't have to go in and type in for each and every client retainer letter. It's all set. So it's automated, but to the end customer, it's personalized. Just like your Starbucks coffee. They're not making caramel sauce fresh every time they make a caramel latte for you, right? They have pre-stored, company-approved, branded caramel sauce. Of course, it does change with regards to how much that individual pours it. So it's not robots doing our coffee anytime soon, but that comes with training and communication. Likewise, in your legal firm, you have those individuals who use those building blocks that help the automation and put that together to give out that final personalized output. Now, the user experience, this is where you can ensure automation across the firm improves overall productivity. It also can be a major edge. So as much as we are in this digital world, as much as everyone recognizes that it's important to provide great digital experiences to customers, not everyone is equipped to deliver it and execute on it quickly. So if you as a business believe in the benefit that this can provide and have a plan for execution, you make that self-serve payments available to you, make it easier for your customers to just click a link to pay you. You're helping yourself, but more importantly, helping your customer, enhancing that overall user experience. So touch point through WhatsApp, digital documents that they can sign digitally, maybe video, Zoom calls or other calls that are secure that you want to utilize for correspondence. And with the retainer letter, sending a link that they can click to pay you through a secure credit card payment, ensuring that that automatically goes into your trust account rather than your general account. Makes it easier in your business, right? Sending out a retainer receipt right away after that retainer has been received. All of that goes into the overall user experience. Once again, a combination of legal accounting and practice management would certainly allow you to accomplish that. But it's something that you want to keep in mind across every digital customer-facing touch point that your firm has, right? From marketing to the actual operational procedures to the final output. Having a digital calendar system is becoming a big thing now for legal businesses. Tools such as Calendly and others, or even exposing your own Google Calendar is becoming a big thing now. So from a Starbucks perspective, it's that same expected, consistent, branded taste, a personalized delivery, but then I have the opportunity to order it online through my mobile phone today. I don't even have to go to my laptop. I can schedule for it to be picked up at a consistent time every day morning if I'm driving through or riding or jogging through that Starbucks. We see that all happen, right? In New York, students especially do this, where they are crossing this particular Starbucks every day at 7 a.m. to get to their university or school. They schedule their Starbucks pickup. Don't visit, wait, none of that. They schedule it, it's available, they just go pick up. They don't even have to pay and wait in line to pay for it. People don't have the time apparently for those things, right? What it has helped them certainly do is enhance the user experience, most definitely increase their overall revenue stream as well. And the overall product experience, having gone through that very consistent, branded, professional coffee experience, and in this case it's a legal experience, now that that particular customer is converted to be an ambassador, you now have to ensure that you leave them with enough information to know about your business so that A, they refer you to others, B, come back to you for other needs. So that's the whole aspect of repeated customer service, referrals, rinse and repeat. Because as I'm sure you can appreciate, a lot of the leads that legal firms get today, a good majority of them are referrals, whether that's society, community referrals, referrals from the law society, referrals from friends, family, other colleagues. End of the day, it's based on the work you do, the professional experience that you provide, of course, your reputation for success, right? The product experience is where you certainly ensure that you articulate the message about other areas of practices that you do offer as a legal firm and how easy it is now for your customer to refer you. Maybe providing referral awards. There could be many different incentives to these as well, but with or without an incentive, again, it's a very thin line that you need to cross there because of the legal aspect of the business. With or without that incentive, making it easy for someone to go write a review. So maybe after the work is done, you send out an email with a little link to a Google review of your business. And then having that Google review snippet in your WordPress website so that it's automated. As soon as the review pops up there, it shows up on your website. What that really leads to is the Starbucks experience of you wanting to come back to that same brand the next time you're looking for a cold drink, the next time you're looking for a snack, because you can certainly vouch for the consistent, professional taste, quality, and experience of dealing with that brand. I just come there for a different need. A really hot summer morning, I want a cold drink maybe, or afternoon. And during winters, of course, here in Canada, you may get that drink, the tea, so on and so forth. So letting the customer know that. That's how you see the menu. You have a lot of different advertisements that talk about it, so on and so forth. So long story short, and we're almost here at the end of this webinar, as part of that brand, customer, user, and product experience, please do understand your current situation, revisit your office branding, training, personal management, tools that you have in your arsenal for business automation, including legal accounting, practice management tools, including the marketing and sales tools, including important reputation management tools that you can start to explore and make them part of your overall toolkit. And slowly but surely get to that point of digital transformation and automation, ensuring that you're able to consistently improve every day across these 4 experiences, of course leading to your own personal and business success, more clients, more revenue, more profitability, more happiness. Not that they're all linked. Individually, all those 4 aspects for you and your business too. So I'm definitely going to pause here because I have hit the end of the hour, maybe a couple of minutes further than that, but definitely want to take the time to pause to ask any questions the audience may have with regards to today's webinar. And the most common question that we get asked is the title. And I'll go back to that. It is, how do you ensure BX, CX, UX, and PX is high for your law office? It's accredited for 1 hour of professionalism CPD credits in the provinces of Ontario, British Columbia, and New Brunswick. This particular video is being recorded and will be available to you on our YouTube channel as early as Monday. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining me in this webinar. Sincerely hope that this was your time well spent and an informational session. We, of course, thrive on your feedback. We'd love to hear more from you. So do use the chat window to ask any questions, or you can feel free to email us at support@uLawPractice.com. Thank you. If there are any more questions, I will stop the recording. Thank you, everyone. Have yourself a fantastic weekend ahead. Look forward to seeing you in our next webinar next Friday at 2 p.m. Take care.